TERA, how much longer until we reach our destination?
We are approximately a fourth of a light year from Sector 229. 1.5 trillion miles. 3 months.
3 months? What am I supposed to do until then?
Why don't we check out some local broadcasts from the surrounding planets? I believe our closest signals are from a planet called Earth.
Earth. Wait, is that the place with those shows that Tom won't stop raving about?
That's the one. How about this? Read 'em and Weeb. A podcast about reading manga.
Are you sure this isn't just two males with a microphone?
Technically, no.
Fine, I'll give it a shot. What are they talking about now?
Looks like they are talking about Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist? What's that about?
Here, let me show you.
You know, there are some lines you really shouldn't cross. People don't come back from the dead, Rose. Not ever.
So you lost your arm.
So this is your real body.
And your brother, he lost his entire body.
We're not gonna let anyone else get hurt.
Which will it be? Is it gonna destroy my body or my Automan? Lucky.
You've got a lot of nerve.
You old traitor!
You attempted human transmutation, didn't you?
The one thing even the most novice alchemist knows is strictly forbidden.
My little brother, he's all I have left!
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Well, I'm locked in. Go ahead and start the show.
Rolling Read 'em and Weeb in 5, 4, 3, 2...
You're not the only special one around here.
Been a while since I flipped my switch on.
I need to fight him, and you can't talk me out of it.
Let me see what you've got.
I'm about to kick your ass.
I can't allow myself to get beaten by someone.
Hey everybody, welcome to Read 'em and Weeb. My name is Davie, my friend Esau. So we're doing Full Metal Alchemist today. I'm very excited. We've kind of known we were doing this for a while.
Weeb?
Yeah, Read 'em and Weeb.
We've kind of known.
Yeah, we've kind of known. We kind of planned this before. In Dragon Ball, we were like, oh, we're going to do Full Metal Alchemist, like, for sure.
Yeah.
And then
we didn't.
Pokemon just kind of happened, and then...
Pokemon was super cheap. It was like, what, $40 for all of it?
Not even that, like 35.
Yeah. That's like $40.
Well, I got my 35 after tax.
Yeah, but that's like $40.
Sure. But we also were like, yeah, let's do Toradora, and that kind of got in the way as well. We're supposed to do Full Metal after Pokemon. So now we're finally doing it, and I'm very excited because, you know, Full Metal is a story that
is really good.
A lot of people love it, you know, and it's one that aged really well from where we're reading right now. So we're doing chapters 1 through 4 this episode. So
First volume.
Yeah.
Of the standard, not David's special volumes.
Yeah, so I think that should also be kind of mentioned. We're reading 2 different versions. So you're doing the 3-in-1 omnibus, and I'm doing the Full Metal editions. So we're planning around his volumes. So if you're reading the regular versions, we're just going volume by volume. If you're doing the Full Metal edition, we're doing the first 4 chapters of volume 1 of the Full Metal edition. I like these Full Metal editions a lot. They look really good on the shelf, and also
they're not metal.
Yeah, they aren't metal, so that's kind of whack. But
they'd be so expensive and heavy
and hard to find.
Yeah,
I'm sure. But I really like these.
Is volume 4 hard to find? How come you still don't have it?
Yes, it's very hard to find because it has Hawkeye on it.
I thought so. I was gonna ask if there was a cute girl on the front.
Yeah,
Hawkeye.
It has Rizae on it.
Gotcha. I don't know who that is. We haven't gotten. Actually, we have. She's in like the first volume.
Yeah. But yeah, so the first 4 chapters there. It's just the first trip to that town, right? With the pasture. That's really all the first 4 chapters are. This is the most episodic that Full Metal feels at like any point.
The thing is, it feels episodic. However, it's setting up a goal Because at no point does the episode stray from the goal that the entire series is based around, the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
I'd also like to point out another thing. We have both fully watched both animes.
Yeah, it's an interesting case of like there are two animes and there's no like definitive version of them, right? Because
I mean,
well, Brotherhood skips a lot of this.
Yeah, but like that's the definitive anime. People love that anime. It's the highest ranked anime of all time.
I agree, it's really good, but it's not the perfect way to experience the story. You lose the entire trip to you lose the entire first 4 chapters.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it start in?
No. So Brotherhood starts in an anime only story about somebody who's gonna destroy Central City, and Ed has to stop him. And then the second episode goes over their backstory. So it just glosses over the first couple of chapters because it was so close to 2003 that they assumed you watched it already.
I don't believe you. I feel like
I just watched it.
Okay.
So
why did you watch it?
Because I wanted to talk about this.
How do you have so much time to watch things it at the gym? So I can suggest you things if you'll watch them at the gym.
No. I watch Mashal. I am at the gym. I'm watching Mashal. Watching Mashal. I'm watching Mashal.
You know some people watch manga on YouTube?
I know.
Our friend does that.
Who?
Ben. I guess I could just say his name.
Yeah.
Ben does that.
Why?
He's like, oh yeah, I read the manga, and he shows me a video of it, and I'm like, what the fuck?
There's a way to do it. I just feel like I want to go at my own pace and kind of just enjoy.
Well, I have the app for that, like the Viz app.
Yeah.
That's not going away, is it? Sorry, Funimation's going away.
Funimation's the one that's going away.
Yeah, and I also pivoted to physical stuff. Milestone for me. I've told David, but I haven't said it on video. I hit 500 volumes of manga in my library.
Yeah, you're halfway to a library.
I'm more than halfway. I think I have like 550 now since I updated you.
Yeah.
Because after that, I got the Assassination Classroom box set for really cheap. $100.
Yeah. Also, if any of you are coming from my video, my main channel from my manga video, welcome. This is Em and Weeb. I guess we should also explain what we do because every episode 1 kind of you can start
inspires a new crowd to join.
Yeah. So basically, we're gonna read a volume of
and weeb it
of Full Metal, talk about it, give our thoughts, and kind of really break down what we think is cool, what we really don't like, and kind of go over like how we feel about different aspects of it. Both of our backgrounds is we're both writers, which is a big thing. Me more so for media, and Esau is writing literature. But we're both really big fans of manga. So, and we also are doing other things. Like if you've seen our Naruto clips that we're doing a Naruto abridged. I think that's out in the open now. So,
is it? I guess you did reply to that one comment saying
but it's also like you can tell what we're gonna do. We're kind of doing it now. So we're doing a Naruto abridged, and that's going to happen soon. I'm very excited.
Soon, relative to this episode, I guess. Why is that loading still? Are you uploading something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our podcast. Toradora is still coming out by the time we're editing this or filming this. I think it's like episode 6 out of 11. So this will be out in a while.
Yeah.
Plus the Steins Gate episode. So,
well, they don't need to know that.
Well, I mean, we're in the past.
Yeah. September 11th.
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah. That's what 2023 Esau.
2020.
2001. Oh, man. I don't even know how to explain that bit. But, yeah. But we're reading Full Metal. I really enjoyed this opener. It goes over the first 4 chapters are very episodic. It's like the trip to the Sun City or whatever it's called.
It's not 2, it's in. They are already in.
Oh yeah, they're there. Sorry. In the anime,
in the original anime.
In the second anime they imply that they're going to go there.
Oh.
But it's very quick, very glossed over.
Gotcha.
They don't give it like the full, attention.
Full Ganesh.
So I guess we can go over like the first chapter. We'll just take it story by story, I guess.
Yeah. Before we get our groove on.
A very strong opening chapter, because the first page it's like a really good first page. It shows Ed during his accident. In what we don't know.
Wrong.
Is what do you mean? Unless the Full Metal edition is
different.
Because this is my first page.
That is not my first page. Oh, it is my first page.
Yeah, mine's just in color. Yeah, they show a glimpse of it, of like, this is what's happening to this child.
What has happened to this child.
Yeah, and then it cuts to him older. You know, he's 15 now.
Yes.
And now it introduces us to like who Ed is, who Al is, not really going over like what their backstory is quite yet. Like Al is...
They pipette feed us what happened to them.
Yeah.
And honestly, it does it really well. I'm so sorry, Mike. You need to scratch my face. There we go.
Yeah, and I think it's my favorite kind of world building when it's just like, hey, we're going to talk to these strangers and kind of explain who we are, what we do.
That's character building. Yeah. The world building it does immediately is also really good. It shows it does a full... the first page past that one shows a full fucking city, shows radios, and you're like, okay, I get the technological age.
Yeah, and more so what I'm getting at is like when he's talking to him about alchemy specifically.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, here's the power system of this world. Everything you put in is what you get out.
God, I fucking love... This is my favorite power system by far. I talk about this with David all the time, how there's a lot of power systems I don't like. Super vague ones like Dragon Ball are fine. Because they're vague enough that like literally anyone can do anything that anyone else can. It's just how much power you can put behind it. Something like Jujutsu Kaisen is too specific, too vague at the same time, where you have to be born with powers, but like there's also everyone can do like a Black Flash if you want to. And then something like Hunter x Hunter, which has the funnest power scaling that I've seen in a while. But it's vague enough that too many things get lost in sauce also, but some people are just too powerful for their own good, for anyone's own good. And I think that's okay. You probably should have still left that book stand there.
Yeah.
Here's what my cover looks like.
Yeah, so I guess if you're looking for like the easiest version to find, it'd probably be the 3-in-1s.
Actually, I think the regular version might be cheaper if you buy it in a box set. I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe.
I got this for free. Thrift books. This one was about $4. It's a used copy. There's a bunch of bent corners. Clearly, someone who reads it bent the corners while they read. And are you pro or against defaming your book?
So I guess like I don't know if it's mine. Sure, whatever. I personally won't.
Well, okay, so you don't like it. There you go.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
But I won't tell someone not to if it's theirs. You know, like if you sell it and you defamed it, you're a fucking asshole. But
I low-key want to be one of those people who writes in their books like memos. I did that when reading one book. I'm not going to specify which one, but I did that, and I was considering doing it with my manga. But I was
Punch Man.
No, it's the Bible.
Is that the fucking 10 Commandments from the Bible?
I was doing it for class. To be fair, I wasn't just reading the Bible.
I thought you were going to say clout. I was doing it for clout.
I was doing it for class. I took a religious studies class in college. Great class.
Yeah. I remember there's this school that we went to for band. Maybe you were there? I don't remember if it was. Yeah. Were you there for that?
Yes.
Dude, the food was really... Oh, yeah, you were. You had to be. Sorry, because one specific person we knew ate too much pizza and fucking threw up all over the sidewalk.
Don't click off just yet. We'll be right back with more Full Metal Alchemist.
Only on Em and Weeb.
Yeah, if you want to read Full Metal, I recommend the Esau's 3-in-1s, his specifically.
Yeah, come get them. Yeah. Check them out from my library.
Yeah. But if you want it to look nice, the Full Metal editions are very nice.
Look very nice.
Yeah, they're very cool. For a story I love deeply, so yeah, I'm gonna get these. We asked some of you on our TikTok that like, hey, have you read Full Metal? What do you think of it? Unanimously from like the 4 comments we got, we're like, this is like the best story I've ever read, and like I can see that it really aged well.
It did. So even just setting up for everything, they do really well with introducing the power system, things you might see, things like chimeras and whatnot, and the fact that defying the power system's law of equivalent exchange is abnormal, despite the fact they're showing it immediately. They're like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
And also showing that doing stuff like that has consequences, showing with Ed and Al. specifically. It also does a really good job of showing Ed's specifically, his personality. Al's a little bit more literally hollow.
Yeah.
In the beginning, and they start developing him really early. I didn't realize it was volume 3 that part happened.
What I really like about Al, and granted, we might get some like spoiler territory, so I'll try to keep it to a minimum, but it feels like he's, for a moment, trapped in the age he was when it happened.
Yeah.
And then he kind of has to build his way up to like maturing, you know?
Well, we can talk about what happened to him. He's a suit of armor.
Yeah. Wait, isn't that 4 chapters? They definitely talk about it.
Yeah, she's hiding in his body.
Yeah.
So he's a suit of armor.
Yeah, he's a suit of armor. So I guess let's jump ahead. Let's talk about their backstory and why it's so interesting, because we do go over it. Ed and Al, they learn alchemy. They're very young, and they
don't go into exactly what happened. I don't think. They commit the greatest sin.
Yeah. Which they go over what it was, but they don't go over like what necessarily like happened. But the greatest sin was to bring a human life back to life and to create life. And because of that, they had to pay a toll of Ed's leg and Al's everything, his whole being. And Ed, to save Al, binded his soul to a suit of armor, which costed him his arm.
Yep.
And so this trauma that they carry, in order to, keep going, Ed is now on a search to get his body back and Al's body back. And that's like the crux of who they are and what their, whole goals are. And to have such like a tragic backstory and keep these characters very lighthearted in a way that feels real.
Yeah. Like every time Ed gets, sorry, I always confuse them. Every time Ed gets, not confused, mad, when someone calls him short, it like puts a chuckle in me, because I'm like, that's so true. That's how every short person acts.
He's got short person rage.
Yeah.
He's like Bagel Boss. These women on these dating sites. It's the second recording session in a row that we brought up Bagel Boss.
I thought yeah. Didn't you? I thought you just brought that up to me in the car.
I think we brought him up in Toradora 11.
You also brought that up while we were coming back from the recording session from the voice acting stuff.
I really like Bagel Boss.
It's really funny.
So what I really love is like, one, it feels authentic.
Yeah.
And two is like, Ed is, human, but there's just something about his like character of like, I'm still gonna, he's like, this is tragic, but like life goes on. And like, though there's like a little bit of, he's obviously depressed,
He's cynical. He's very cynical, which I like about him.
And what's really funny is when you first meet Ed, I think like in the first chapter, I'm very much like when I first, watched it, because he was a very cynical, like, I remember him being atheist.
Agnostic.
But he's agnostic, which to me is a very important detail.
Distinction, yeah.
Yeah. Because he's like, I'm not going to say whether or not there's a God. I'm open to it, which makes more sense given what he knows,
Which is everything, apparently.
Yeah. But also, I think, and I see a lot of people debate this, is Ed a depiction of a disabled person? I think so.
I mean, literally.
Literally, but also I think like he is disabled representation, Like,
he fights with his automail because he's used it for so long. Mm-hmm. Sorry, he has metal parts. His arm and leg, obviously, were replaced with metal parts. And there are times when they don't work. Mm-hmm. In this set of what's called, there are parts where it don't work. Later in the series, there are parts where it doesn't work, and he has to. Those are big problems that happen all the time. There's that part that it didn't work because it's all Winry's fault. Anyway, stuff like that. Yeah. I'm not going to just bring up the end. Why would I do that?
Yeah. What I think was also important, is that because in the beginning it almost feels like it saves him a few times, like when the Chimera bites his arm. Yeah. And it's like, oh, and I'm chilling.
Scratches his leg, bites his arm.
Yeah. And he's like, had that been like a real limb, or on the train when that guy shoots up the top of the train, and Ed's like, oh, catches it. If that was my other foot, I'd be fucked right now. So they display it as like, oh, it's a benefit. But to later they're going to go on and be like, hey, he is disabled. There's a really good scene, and I guess I can talk about it next episode because it'll be more relevant, but he's fighting somebody, and his arm is blown off, and the animation does like a really nice detail where he moves, his arm is gone, but he instinctually moves to like lay on it, and he falls over, and it's really good character animation. And I think the distinction of like, hey, he can benefit from this, but at the end of the day, the malfunctions will happen, and he can't function like he would with his arm and leg.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I feel like he's too functional with automail. It's like, sorry, let me flesh out this thought.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like automail is too functional in its own right because it literally connects to his nerves and moves like a normal hand would.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you have to get used to it and all that. And like he's like special in that way. A lot of people don't get full metal automail. Some people just get like the leg that moves on it, like on gravity and whatnot. And I'm gonna be honest, it's like it's a little too disjointed from the world itself, in my opinion. It's too advanced for what the rest of the world is doing.
I wouldn't say so, only because I feel like in a world where alchemy is a thing.
Well, alchemy is literally just like, hey, what is this made out of? All right, let's do magic to do it.
Well, the suspension of disbelief is not there for me. It's like, yeah, I can see that. But it's also like they go into, and again, we'll talk about this later, but the drawback of doing it is intense pain. Like, it's a surgery, you know?
You got to put up the connectors.
Yeah. And like the surgery to do so is like a long recovery time. You're going to be in a lot of pain. And they go over this in the first one. It's like, it's like 3 years of recovery.
He also has phantom pains.
Yeah. And then Ed's literally like, no, I'm going to do it in 1. I'm giving myself a year to recover.
Yeah.
Because he's driven, and it's a really interesting character because it's not, you know, because at first they're like the Philosopher's Stone. Like that's the goal. And then it's like, no, that's not the goal. That's the tool to the goal of fixing
that's the means to the end.
Yeah.
Not the end.
Yeah. And they're even, you know, saying like, this may not work. We might fuck ourselves like harder.
Yeah. We might die. We might make it worse, but it's literally the only chance we have.
Yeah. And Ed's driven to like not even help himself, but it's like, my brother is a suit of armor. I need to fix this.
I can't wait. That's volume 4, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I did want to bring up is I feel like it does it well. However, there's one manga that I know that does it even better, and that's Berserk. So spoilers for Berserk, I'm going to talk about quite a bit deeper into it. There's a part where the main character Guts loses part of his arm from about the elbow down. Well, don't worry. You should have been there already. And he gets a metal arm replacement. The metal arm has magnets in it, so it'll grip his sword when he needs it to. And it's attached to his past the elbow right here, so he can move it like this. So he's got a lot of functionality to the point that he forgets that it's not a hand. But then he goes to save somebody. He reaches out his hand to grab them, and he can't. They're not a sword. They're not a metal handle that his hand will magnet to. So he drops them into the ocean. He can't save them, and he also can't really swim with that metal arm. And despite all the things he's been through, he's like, oh, that's right. This is just a tool I use to kill things. I'm not entirely human anymore. And I feel some of that in Full Metal when Ed talks about I was right. Ed talks about his metal parts.
Yeah.
And we don't get much of that in this first volume. Do we? Where is he? Where does he have the phantom pain?
I believe that's volume 2.
Yeah.
That's after big moment, you know?
Yeah. All right. You know what? Yeah. But I think the writer does an amazing job setting that up. Speaking of setting things up, so after he deals with the church, they're on the train, and for a single moment, they bring up their teacher. And this is all retrospective. This one's going to be a retrospective of setup versus payoff. Their teacher doesn't show up for several more volumes.
We haven't met her yet.
And they do an amazing job of setting up how she is. Like when she finally appears, she's going to be like, yeah, that's exactly how I pictured her because of how Ed and Al talk about her.
So I want to know your opinion as someone who's also watched the anime.
Right.
So we meet these people very quickly in the anime, right? Like Roy's in the first episode, Hawkeye's in the first episode. You know, they're people who we don't meet for a while. Like, in fact, at the end of volume 1 is where we meet Roy for a page, you know?
Well, we also meet Hawkeye.
And Hawkeye.
Yeah, we meet them both in the end of this volume.
But they show them right off the bat, and I don't know if I like those changes, you know? I feel like the allure and mystery really.
I feel like the change is unnecessary, to say the least.
And I get with Brotherhood, again, it's like...
It's like the opposite of Hunter x Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were like, Kite, who needs to know who Kite is?
Such a bad change.
Literally like episode 1 or volume 1 shit, and they're like, what if we didn't put it in?
Mm-hmm. No, it's funny because I watched the second Hunter x Hunter 2011. I watched it before touching the manga. And so I was like, oh, I just met Kite. And you were like, no, he's in volume 1. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Who is this?
Sorry, big tangent storyline.
Okay.
So, no, you. This is about you.
Oh, okay.
So, I used to be a bigger anime fan than I was a manga fan. So I would suggest anime to David all the time. He's like, I'll eventually look at it. I had suggested one. I don't remember which one. It was probably not Steins Gate. It was a different one. And then eventually he was like, yeah, I started that anime you told me about. I was like, oh, that? And he's like, no, Hunter x Hunter. And I was like, I didn't suggest that to you. I brought it up in passing.
No, you told me I would like Hunter x Hunter.
In passing, though.
Because I remember why it got brought up. Because I was telling you about a story I was writing. And I'm still working on it now. And my character, she had an identical ability to Godspeed. And you said, oh, that's Godspeed. And I went, what's Godspeed? That sounds sick. And you said, oh, Hunter x Hunter. And you began to tell me what it was about. And I went, that's fucking sick. And you said, I think you'd like it.
I brought it up in passing. I've also sucked the dick of many more anime beforehand. And he's never bothered touching them.
I'm watching Mashal.
Yeah, but I also brought that one up in passing.
No, because you were telling me about it because of the TikTok.
Yeah.
And you were like, I really think you'd like it. Again, you said that. And this time I actually watched it right away.
Yeah. Because I was right.
Yeah.
I also brought it up because it's like not MASH. That's the Mashal guy. It's like, his name's not one. Mob Psycho. It's like Mob Psycho.
I also watched Mob Psycho.
Yeah, I didn't suggest you Mob Psycho.
Did you not?
Nope, that was Ben. That's Ben's thing.
Yeah, I think all three of us were hanging out.
Yeah, I read the manga. I would not have suggested it to you.
No, I remember it was when we went for a walk one day at the park, like with our friends, and you were just like, yeah, like because we got there on time, and they didn't. So you were like, yeah, Mob Psycho, and I was like, oh, I hear good things. He's like, you were like, it's the ugliest shit I've ever seen, but the story is really good. And I went, what? And then you were like, yeah, it's like a webcomic, ugliest shit I've ever seen. And then I was like, it can't be that bad. And you showed me, and I was like, oh my God.
We'll show this to the camera. So these are some of the panels. You probably can't see it on the main camera, but David can pull up what I'm looking at. It's ugly, but it's really good. Some of these later ones are fine. Like these are like so ugly. And if you guys have seen the webcomic for One Punch Man, you've seen the way that guy redraws them, or girl. I don't know who draws what. I don't know what anyone's name is. Sorry, I fucked up your show.
And what's really funny is that's probably going to be like my first comic, and I had to hire someone to like redraw it for me.
Yeah. I'll just get better at drawing, loser.
Yeah, but that's going to be sick. It takes so long.
100 days.
100 girlfriends. We have to do that now, actually.
Oh, yeah, we hit the 100 scrubs.
Very fast, actually.
Yeah.
So, that's cool.
And growing.
Yeah, we're at 140 now. Catching up to me, I have to make another video. It's the way my video jumped me up like so much, and then I was like, cool, I don't have to worry about it no more. And then our channel jumped, and I was like,
it's because of the Naruto thing, probably.
Yeah, it was the Lee video.
Yeah, fuck, that video is so good.
It was really funny, but it didn't get a lot of views as the other ones. Actually, no, I got a lot of views on stories.
Yeah,
that's shorts rather. Also, if you've seen those, what'd you think? And if you haven't, go watch them. Have
we released episode 1 of Naruto Abridged? Please leave a review on it if we have.
We probably haven't.
Yeah, no. I don't know. This is pretty far out.
I guess maybe it's at least another 6 weeks. It's kind of insane how, backlogged we are.
Yeah.
Which is really funny because there's like 3 episodes of like same quality, and then I feel like we get better, and that's 3 weeks of improvement, and then I get skinnier.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna one day you're gonna be like, oh, episode 4, and I'm just jacked, fucking shredded.
But then the next episode you're like
fat
twig,
again.
like twig thin.
And the next episode I'm just fat.
Yeah, you're Sakamotoing it.
Yeah. Dude, Sakamoto Days is so good.
Anyway, let's talk about the manga we're supposed to be reading. I really like the way they also introduced some key villains. I don't know why I skipped this. Some of the most important villains, Lust and Gluttony, and I really like these characters.
Yeah, no, they are some of my favorite antagonists.
And it's not because they're like extra like deep. They have depth to them, but they're not extra deep, especially not now. But they just feel so iconic. I love the way they feel as villains.
Yeah, it's like they're staying to their sin, but it's when the story will allow them to branch off from that is when it's going to get really interesting. I think and again, it's going to be so long until we meet some of my favorite key players, but...
You're thinking Greed. Greed's what he's thinking. He's thinking about Greed.
Shit, it's Rogers. Well, that and the teacher, you know?
Oh, whatever.
I can't remember if this is a...
anime exclusive thing?
Yeah. But when Ed does... No, it has to be an anime exclusive. Because in the anime, very early on, again, Ed claps his hands and he, touches the floor and you can do alchemy. And they're like... And Al's like, oh, you can do that thing that teacher does. And I went, why the fuck would you say that? Because we can put together why he can do it. Therefore, we can put together why she can do it.
Yeah.
You know?
In fact, I don't think she shows us she can do it for a while.
Mm-hmm. So when you see her backstory, and it's like, okay, cool, dude, but why would you say that line in episode 2? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just retrospective that I'm like upset about it, but I think it's just a bad line. Whatever.
Lust and Gluttony. Gluttony loves to eat people. It's very funny. I like him. Anyway, the train or the mines go first. Wow, I forgot about the mines.
Yeah, it goes sun god thing,
mines, and then train.
Yeah.
So the mines isn't super interesting in my opinion.
I disagree. I really like this moment for Ed.
Yeah.
No, I think the coal mine is a really good moment for Ed because we see how cynical he is, very early on in, I can't remember what the fuck that town is called in the first chapter. Leor.
I couldn't tell you its a name.
I believe it's Leor.
I thought it was called Suntown.
I kept calling it that, but no, I think it's Leor. So he's very cynical and he like brings up that he's like, and for good reason, okay, first let's talk about Leor because we haven't at all actually. So let's not skip to the coal mine yet. Rose is a very important character.
I mean, I guess.
To establish who Ed and Al are. Because she wants to bring her boyfriend back to life, and Father Cornello is promising that to her, like dangling it over her head. Like, not yet, but I will bring him back. Trust me, like your boyfriend's coming back to life. And because Ed and Al hear that, they're trying to kind of detour her from that path, like, hey, that is too good to be true. Like
deter, not detour.
No, we're gonna get there, but like that's not the way to do it. There's another way we can bring him back, and we're gonna pivot you this way. And they try to deter her from the path, and at first she's like, "What do you guys know? Like you guys are just fucking outsider weirdos. Like why should I trust you?"
And then enter that iconic scene of Ed reading out the list of components for a human body.
Mm-hmm. Things
you can buy on a children's pocket money.
Yeah.
Which is really, first of all, great. Not foreshadowing. Is it foreshadowing?
I don't think so.
It's very foreboding, first of all, but it's a great little like pipette of, hey, this is implied.
Mm-hmm.
Is that he did it as a child with pocket money.
Yeah. And it's so good, man. It feels like she really knew, like okay, this is what happened to my characters. This is what they're about, and this is like we're just gonna have them interact with different parts of the world, and they're going to, it all just fits so tightly in this nice little story, and it's like, which is long as shit, by the way. If I should bring that up, that shit took forever to read. I don't know why. I remember this shit not being that long, but a really nice, story, and and Ed sprinkling his experiences in, like, it felt like it was very intentional. There was a lot of, like, she knew his backstory, and she knew that if he's going to continue, like, going forward in his life, even when we meet him off the jump, these backstory that we haven't been told yet happened, and this is who shaped him.
Yeah.
Which is a big problem that I have a lot with a lot of shonen. Like when we're told Naruto was ostracized and bullied his whole life, and then they show us backstory of how he was just kind of cool.
Yeah, he has, like, was just a little bit like annoying, so people thought he was annoying.
Yeah,
that was it. He even had some people you might call friends.
Or like when the third Hokage is supposed to be this really, sorry, spoilers for Naruto. This third Hokage is supposed to be this like nice, being who spreads the will of fire, but
and he stole Naruto's mansion.
Yeah, like what do you mean? Where like Naruto?
His parents lived in a goddamn house.
Yeah. Or when they, sorry, again, this is gonna be huge spoilers for Naruto, so skip to ahead, right? Skip like 5 minutes ahead. And
Oops.
and like Naruto Uzumaki is his name, and we learned that's his mom's name.
That's his mom's clan.
His mom's clan, a well-known clan from the only Uzumaki who was in the village, married to Minato. His backstory just doesn't make any fucking sense anymore.
It falls apart like a lot,
and that doesn't happen with Full Metal because it's very tight.
Yeah,
like it was all very well calculated, and that's what I love about this story.
Why is Naruto so poor? I know he's an orphan, but like, goddamn,
they had to sell the part.
Yeah.
And it just bugs me a lot.
Like Gaara is so much better written than Naruto.
Yeah, I agree. Backstory wise,
well, just in general, I like his character. I feel like his character is better written. He's not cooler or anything, but he's better written.
Well, better written because he's not in the story as much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
It's the fact that Naruto is always the forefront, and they keep adding details for him for no reason.
Gaara's the goat. He's like not like, I almost said Goku, but I meant Krillin. He's like Krillin.
I like Krillin a lot.
Yeah.
It's also like showing, not telling, which is another problem I have with Naruto, where they're like, Sakura is the top of her class. She's the smartest in the class. And then
she's the best at manipulating her chakra. And let her do it.
She can break genjutsu like that. Thank you for telling me that. Can you show me? They show her breaking genjutsu a lot. But it's like, hey, can you show me that she's cool, Give her ability. Give her jutsu? Like,
what are you talking about? She uses a substitution jutsu.
Dude, my favorite part, that's true.
Twice. Actually, she used it like 5 times in that one fight.
That part was sick. That's my favorite Sakura moment because it's the only thing she has until Shippuden.
She lost the fight.
Yeah, she lost the fight. But one thing that bugs me too is like when Sakura's like watching Lee fight and she's like, why isn't he using any jutsu? What the fuck? Why aren't you?
Bitch.
Last time I checked, you're also a taijutsu specialist.
Last I checked, you're not a specialist at all.
But yeah, that's my thing with Full Metal is like it's really tightly written, and using Rose as like a way to show us who these people are is very interesting.
She's the foil at the moment to Ed and Al and how they were at one point.
Yeah,
naive, desperate, unwilling to see the consequences of potential actions.
Yeah,
mostly because they are naive, obviously.
Yeah, and we learned of the Philosopher's Stone here as well, which may be the ticket to wherever they're achieving, which is getting their bodies back. And it's such an interesting start. It's my favorite first 2 chapters of like anything we've read so far. Like Dragon Ball was very weird going back to.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, this is cool, and this is a very fun story of Goku and Bulma.
Not well written, but it's good.
Not indicative of, not well written in retrospect, because it's not indicative of what the rest of the show is or rest of the book is.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Naruto's first chapter is actually kind of solid. It's just what you need to know. This is Naruto. This is who he's about. This is the story.
A little too retconny later.
Mm-hmm. It's all in retrospect, but this one is great. And Toradora was actually really good because it was very funny. It did what it needed to do. You're gonna pretend all of a sudden you didn't like it.
I hate rom-coms. I'm sorry. Got to be with a big pile of rom-coms to show you.
But yeah, I really liked it.
Unrelated. So do you remember that manga I told you about, Rosario Vampire?
Mm-hmm.
About it was kind of rom-commy harem.
Yeah.
Apparently people love that shit. I was on the subreddit for anime, and they're like, "What shitty anime had great manga?" And like one of the top comments was like Rosario Vampire, and I got there really early, like literally like 10 minutes after it was posted. And I replied, I was like, I remember watching that anime as a teen and going to the manga when I finally got into it and finally reading and going, what the fuck? This has a story? My boy Skune is a shonen protagonist? And everyone was like, wow. And I got like 200 votes.
I don't know. I never go on Reddit that much unless it's like
I'm a Reddit guy. I like Reddit. It's my social media of choice. It's like your Twitter.
I hate Twitter now.
Yeah, but you're always on it.
Because now Twitter is just nothing but transphobic, homophobic shit, or just like, hey, I really like this game, and the next comment is this girl's like, I fuck all the time. It's really weird.
My pussy in bio.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, dude, we're talking about fucking Mario 64. Why are you on this post? It's weird. Like, get your bag, I guess. Like, it's just annoying, you know?
Like, get your bag, but like, wait in line.
Sometimes I mute words, like Bitcoin, I muted that. NFT, so I never had to see those. Very nice. What's it called? Full Metal.
Manga and anime.
Manga and anime.
The writing is really good.
Again, very weird that it doesn't have like a definitive way to watch it, but Brotherhood's really good, so definitely watch it if you're not going to read it. Also, nice reading a book for a manga that I've seen, so I have the voices in my head already.
Nice to read a manga of an anime he's watched.
Yeah. Yes. I don't remember what I said.
Manga you've seen.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I have the voices in my head already, so I don't have to like think about it. Because with Toradora, I hadn't seen the anime. I kept changing the voices in my head, and I kept getting confused.
I don't have that problem.
Are you one of those people who can like hear things in their head?
I have an inner monologue, yes.
Okay, cool. I don't understand how some people don't.
You've been
Well, it's not a monologue that she doesn't have.
Yeah, but like she also doesn't have the inner monologue. Clearly, the church.
Yes, and I think what else I wanted to bring up was once that whole conflict is done, and Ed exposes the priest for he exposes Cornello for the fraud that he is.
Yeah, using alchemy and the Philosopher's Stone to trick people into thinking he's a miracle worker under the sun god Leto.
Also, finding out that the Philosopher's Stone was fake, and so now going
which
into
it isn't.
Yeah,
which is something we learn later, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. Because it raises questions and answers them. It's like, oh, so there's a limit.
Yeah, I like the fact that it shows that Ed doesn't know everything. Mm-hmm. He's like, this must be fake. He has a false sense of what the Philosopher's Stone is.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get into it obviously later. But what I also really like is his drive to learn is what separates him from...
Oh, he's like crazy smart. That's another thing about him. He's like kind of a dork, but he's like really smart.
Mm-hmm. I also love Ed and Al as a combo.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like Al is also just as smart. Ed being smarter. But Al also has that drive to like, learn and he keeps Ed in check because he's a little more passive. He's a little more rational.
Yeah.
And at times he's a little more like, he's more thoughtful.
He's also stronger.
And stronger because he's a big ass suit of armor.
Well, he's also just, Ed's never won a fight against him, and probably also when they were just like people.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ed's got you know what? Just speaking backwards. Al's also just kind of bulky. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
I like these characters. Also, they feel very fresh because they're very European, which is a lot different than other settings we see,
which is Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting in the sense that like, which is also, we also see Asian countries later on, which, we'll get into that when it happens.
Yes.
But it's also such a really cool world.
It's so well written.
I know. I fucking love. I'm gonna glaze this entire book. Like. Yeah, I know what I said.
I already did.
So I guess my favorite line that's what's said is like telling Rose basically, you're gonna be fine. Like, you have 2 legs to walk on.
So she's like, what am I gonna do now? Walk forward. You have 2 legs to walk on.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me pull up the exact line. Sorry, completely unrelated. And by completely, I mean like partially unrelated. We had a...
And by completely, I mean completely related.
I mean, it is.
You motherfucker. This is the movie all over again.
I lost my train. No, I was talking. So one of our fucking friends proposed to his girlfriend of like 6 months in high school with a line from this anime manga. And she said yes originally.
It was from the end of the book, huh?
Yeah. And then they broke up. Do you still have the pocket watch that he gave her?
Somewhere.
Sorry, I saw the pocket watch and it reminded me.
Oh my god, does he watch this?
He might.
That's embarrassing.
I'm sorry, buddy. But it's a funny story.
I thought you were going to say his name.
No, well, you need to bleep it out. Anyway, enough with the joke. So this first fucking area is super like crazy important. It shows Ed's ability to think ahead.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't just stop Cornell. He's like, I need the people to know, and they do. Also, one thing the anime does is they have sorry, spoilers. They have Envy turn into Cornell, and then turn a bunch of like rubble into doves or something. And I'm like,
Yes.
How did Envy do that? They can't use alchemy.
Yeah. I think that's an anime only.
Yeah, it is an anime only. It did not happen here. I was actually looking for it. But it shows Ed's competence. Like, he's like, they need to know. I'm going to make sure. He did the exact same thing with Rose. He's like, I need you to know. You're not going to believe us.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, we need her to tell them. Then he just has Cornell admit it on radio. Also, Cornell's just stupid. Come on, man. The mic's right in front of you on the floor.
Yeah.
This is your recording room. The windows are open. There's a wire going. Like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
You literally already felt for this once.
What I also like about this section too is they really play around with the art.
Yeah.
And like give Ed really funny expressions for the whole thing. I think my favorite being like in the train when Ed's just sleeping through the whole hostage situation and he's poking him with the gun and Ed's just like fast asleep. It's like I love the way because I don't know. A lot of people criticize the book for being like that, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. It's a stylistic choice, and I think it works.
Yeah.
Art-wise, I think the book is very simplistic. It's a lot of just like character shots of them talking, but it's interesting. And when the book really needs to kick it into high gear, that's when the set pieces become grander, and it really works.
It's dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
The art style, not just everything. The art style itself is dynamic. It shows like, hey, this is a goofy scene. I'm gonna draw it a little goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Ed getting poked in the face because he's sleeping through a fucking train robbery is kind of goofy
and really funny.
Yeah.
And in character. But it's also like, so I brought up a similar critique with another where everything kind of feels empty at times.
Yeah.
And Full Metal has that problem too.
Yeah, like
But-
for example, the fight scene right after Ed wakes up, every panel where he's punching and kicking is a blank background rather than like the train or something like it has shown. But when it does show background, it's really well done.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really good at first establishing where we are.
Yeah.
And then allowing blank space, which I think works really well.
Yeah, where you'll write your name.
Mm-hmm. And I think the book does that really well, and I think it benefits from being so simplistic. It's very easy to kind of latch on to these characters because they're so well designed and they're distinct that you can get away with kind of being more simple.
Yeah.
Especially when each chapter is so bulky and has a lot to offer.
Yeah,
you know?
especially in the beginning. What's called has been like 4 or 5 chapters, which isn't too odd, except for the ones that are 4 chapters, which have been the first 2 volumes. It's pretty bulky. But I do like Ed's not like, he's like, I don't have all the answers. I can just tell you which ones are wrong. At least you have strong legs to take you there. That's the line I was looking for. I forgot I was scrolling for that.
Yeah, really good line.
That's a hard line. Right
Fire bar. Bars.
Stand up and walk. Keep going forward. At least you have strong legs to take you there.
Mm-hmm. Just a really good start. Really good book. The coal mine, again, I think is really important to show who Ed is because he's very cynical in the first, chapter. 2 chapters.
Yeah, the coal mine itself doesn't matter. It's all Ed and himself. Mm-hmm. It shows him as not only like being physically capable, which we see in the next part with the train, but it shows him being cunning. He's also like a little like, what's the word I'm looking for? Smarmy.
He's a shitter.
Yeah, he's a fucking shitter.
And I love him.
And even Al points this out. He's like, they're kind of like resonating with each other because
him and the
guy.
Yeah. Loki.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when he has the fan and he's like, oh, like, yeah, dude,
Yeah.
Ed's so funny.
Hold up, where is it? Oh yeah, he's hold up, what did he said? It seems like they're enjoying it. They're both being sly, or they say both think. They're like, ho ho ho, he he he. It's also drawn really goofily, which like plays into the thing we were saying about the dynamic art style.
And it also plays into Ed just being able to be a shitter. Like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna tell this guy what he wants to hear, and I'm just gonna fuck him. Hey Al, watch this. It's gonna be so funny.
What if you like wrote that you gave it to me for free? Oh, I don't see how that could backfire. Yeah. Of course.
That makes perfect sense. He's like, doesn't it though?
You need this, but the goal is illegal. Yeah, of course. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. We're both doing something wrong here. Ed fixes it. What the fuck?
I've been had. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, look at that.
I guess I lost. I'm also going to tell the government, no! I'm going to go tell the IRS.
But it wasn't real gold. Yeah, but you had it.
I'm going to go tell them you had the gold. It's like, so I don't have it. Yeah, but the government thinks you did. Have fun paying those taxes, asshole.
What are we talking about?
So much for X-ray visions, motherfucker.
Shut the fuck up.
My Ed and Naruto are the same.
Yeah.
But I really like this moment for Ed because one, it establishes like the cost of being a military, like alchemist for the military.
Yes, people don't like you.
These people don't like you. They don't trust you, and it says a lot. One, because it's a very easy message,
We also learn later why more specifically, and it's the Civil War.
Yeah, which is going to be very interesting to go over. But also, it establishes one, people don't like the army, which is super based, and it's like, okay, now we're going to dive into why, because it's a very not a nuanced take. Most people would agree that they don't like the military, or cops. But to do it so early on and show that Ed will, be looked at badly for his decision to do this is interesting. And Ed, even though people don't like him, they're going to ostracize him, he's still going to go out of his way to help them if he feels like it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because
not if he feels if it's worth it, if he feels like it's necessary for them.
Yeah. Well, also because at first he was like, all right, fuck these guys. I don't care. And
yeah, but that's before he realizes that they needed the help.
Yeah. And no, that's what I'm saying is like, he's like, fuck these guys. And then they're like, he's like, just go fucking, if this place sucks, leave and go find somewhere else. And they were like, we were born here. We're going to die here. And then it clicks for him. He's like, okay, I get it now. I was being
just burn it down.
I was being a shitter. And he helps them, and he like dangles it too. He's like,
he's got like a big fucking nose about it. Like he's like very prideful, and smarmy. He's like, I own this whole place.
But it's like it's in such like a friendly way too. The anime kind of does it a little too mean spirited at first.
That's kind of how I see it, honestly. I see it a little mean spirited.
I see it in mean spirited until he kind of makes the jab of like, because at first they're like, he's like, how much does a night here cost? $200,000. And he's like, I don't have that fucking money. But he's like, I'll sell you the property back. And then he's like, this is a pretty good land. I think it probably comes out to 2 nights and 2 meals.
Yeah.
And then they laugh about it because he's like, you're right. That is what it would cost because we were overcharging you.
Yeah, we were incredibly like ripping you off.
Yeah, and then they have like a good time about it. And it shows Ed being like, hey, I'm going to give you some shit, but like, here you go.
Yeah.
And it's really good character for him. And, in general, just like these people who interact with the Elric brothers, and it shows like, hey, we're the military, but also we're moving independently of them.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Like, I don't care.
One issue I do have with Full Metal is some of the characters look a little samey. Some of the background characters.
Definitely background, yeah.
Yeah, because they give every background character a face, not one that matters, but a face, some of them tend to feel reused.
Yeah, but I feel like you're going to find that problem with most manga because
this guy looks like...
And so, our third story is the train, which is very self-contained. Just Ed and Al stop a train with a government official on it, or a military official on it, and they stop hijackers with their wit and strength.
This shows more about Roy than it does about Ed, in my opinion. This is to set up Roy very well, and his opinion and his personality, especially based around Ed.
Sorry.
It starts with him.
Oh, okay.
It starts and ends with Roy.
Okay.
He's like, oh, the train. I'm gonna miss my date. I didn't realize he goes on like a lot of dates.
That's like a little quirk about him.
Yeah, he's like horny.
He's like, yeah, because he's like a handsome.
He's hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd fuck him.
Yeah. I'm straight, but I'd fuck him too. It's really fun because he's like, oh man, now we have to stop this guy. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. And he sees the passenger. He's like, oh, we're good. This 15-year-old's here. To stop.
And his 13-year-old brother.
Yeah.
14? 13? 14? 13?
I want to say he's like 13. I want to say he's like 2 years younger.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. My favorite part is when Ed beats up one of the guys in the coal car, and the other one is about to shoot him, and then the guys with the shovels just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, with a shovel.
Yeah. And they just give it like a...
He's like, oh man, glad you guys were here.
Yeah.
He's like, that could have been bad.
Yeah. But it also shows that Ed is pretty ingenuitive. We obviously knew that. Another great part is when people shoot at Al and the bullets keep hitting them.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, the ricochet!
Yeah.
Wait, the ricochet!
And Al's trying to stop them. It's literally reverse Giovanni.
Yeah.
No, he's like, wait, stop! It's gonna ricochet. Hits the first guy. Second guy, it's gonna ricochet. Stop! Al's kill count is like 10 by accident.
Yeah.
He's had 10 assists.
Man, could have made so much.
I love this chapter because of that, but it's also like
God his ass.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I know. Cut that joke out.
My favorite part is when he makes an intercom and he's like,
and it has his head and his little apogee.
Yeah. And then he's like, surrender now. And then they're like, no. And he's like, okay. And it turns into a cannon. Or like a pipe. It looks like a cannon.
He did make a cannon to the guy who shot him on the roof.
Yeah. That's
makes
part of
it. A whole ass cannon as revenge.
He shoots at him. He's like, oh, you almost hit me. Makes a fucking cannon.
I appear to have made a mistake. Another thing I like about this is we see somebody else with automail.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who hijacked the train has according to Al or Ed, a very cheap automail that his breaks easily.
Which is really also good world building.
Yeah. It's just a gun automail, but it also has like a little blade on the bottom, which you can actually see a little bit of where the blade is kept, which is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Art design. Like she designed these characters,
and
then was like
the fuck out of these characters. Yes.
But it's so good. You bought the cheaper model, didn't you? And then fucking gets his arm cut off and his head decked. That being said, there is nothing in that gun.
Yeah.
It is just empty. And I'm okay with that, but there's nothing in that gun.
Yeah. Good, just a good solid start. Honestly. A very good volume 1.
And then we meet Roy.
Yeah.
Roy is a smarmy little bitch.
Thank you so much for watching episode 1 of Fullmetal Alchemist. If you enjoy the story, please let us know why. Thank you for giving us your insight, these comments that are on the screen right now. Really appreciate your insight. It seems like everyone really loves the story. We love the story and we're excited to read it. And Weeb. Don't blow it toward me, you fuck. So we're really excited to read it and weeb it. And this has been really fun. I'm excited because this is a story that I've been excited to read for a while.
Yeah, he's actually never read this.
That's not true. It's not true.
But I'd love to tell I'd like to do a little bit of trolling.
Yeah. I actually haven't read it now. I haven't started at volume 1.
I was going to make that joke like, I just didn't read it.
I just weebed. So thank you so much for watching. If you like the podcast, please rate us 5 stars. Please like the video on whatever streaming platform you're on. And please share it with your friends because we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and we will start Naruto. That's the plan. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.